Am Vanna, and I am bringing you the latest in the culture update. That's everything from history, news, entertainment, what's happening now. We like to get into keep the culture updated, really, to let y'all know what's happening. So I'm excited to be here with you all today. I want to give a special shout out to culture creators. This is being brought to you by the culture creators. So special thanks to them for bringing us this culture update. And man, I got a great show for you all today. I'm so excited about it. We're going to get into a lot of things. We're going to talk about CRT, what it is, what it means. We're going to talk about some entertainment news. We're going to jump into some stories involving Ikea. Apparently, they had a slip up on Juneteenth that they are having a rough time trying to recover from. So, we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about Black Twitter. And once again, Black Twitter, it's what's happening in Black culture. I'm telling you, if you're not on Black Twitter, you got to get on Black Twitter. But it's a story involving cultural appropriation and how that plays into affecting Black culture, because now Meagan Thee Stallion's song is suffering because of it. So we're going to jump into that. And then finally, we're going to wrap up the show. We're going to talk about bbls. What is bbl? Brazilian butt lift. So we're going to get into that, and there's some ups, some downs, and some crazy parts of that. So we're going to jump into all of that today. But right now, we're going to go ahead and get the show started off with a little video. We wanted to kind of give you this little introduction video to bring you guys and kind of just give you an inner look into what we're about to branch into for today's show. So my producer's going to cue that up for us. We're going to watch that and check it out.
It's 2021. Are we still calling people colonizers?
I mean, y'all still colonizing. Taking property using eminent domain, colonizing. Going to some exotic land and buying up all the property so that you can vacation in, and ultimately raising the property value so that the native people can no longer afford property there, colonized. Coming back to a city that everybody divested from and left all the Black people there to fend for themselves, just to bring up luxury apartments, and now the people that were born and raised there can no longer afford to live there, colonizing. Taking someone's intellectual property and rebranding it as your own, colonizing. Taking somebody else's culture and creating a business from it for you to make money, colonizing. Raising the rent on businesses that have been in a place for over a decade just so that, the coffee shops and fusion restaurants can come in, colonizing. Colonizing in 2021 is just being done with money instead of violence. So if you don't want to be called a colonizer, stop colonizing.
And it's that simple. It is just that simple. So let's use that as a transition into critical race theory. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it is, what it means, and why it's important. Like, Vanna, why are you smiling? Because it's just blasphemous that it's 2021 and we have to literally break this down kindergarten style and explain it to people who should be educated adults, or at least adults enough to understand. However, I digress. We're going to break it down to you. So, what exactly is critical race theory? Who started it? Who developed it? Where did it come from? Why? Critical race theory is just that. It's a theory, and I want to make that very understood. It's a set of ideas that have been brought together by a group of people. It was technically the quote unquote founder, or who they call the father of critical race theory, is Derek Bell. If you look at Derek Bell, he was an American lawyer, a professor, a civil rights activist. He was pretty high up in the game. He studied at Harvard Law School. He was a part of the Department of Justice. He actually was one of the first Black men and one of the only Black men at the time in the 70s to be a part of the Department of Justice. And he was actually in a civil rights. Okay, so get this. So he was in the civil rights division of the U.S. Justice Department. They came to him in the 70s and said, "We heard you were a part of the NAACP. If you don't leave the NAACP, you're going to get fired." And guess what he said? Deuces, I'm not leaving the NAACP. So Derek Bell is a real one. Okay, do you hear me? So him, along with a few others, which I can tell you their names, Richard Delago, he is also a scholar, an author. He's written several books. as well as Charles Lawrence, Mari Masuda, excuse me, and then Patricia Williams. So these like 5, 6 people came together and came up and were the original originators of the critical race theory. Okay, so this is Derek Bell, a black man. I looked up, I believe Richard Delago. It didn't say who his mother was, but his father was a Mexican American. So you have a black man, a Mexican man. I didn't read up on Charles Lawrence because he's not on Wikipedia. Mari Masuda, or however you say her name, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. She is Hawaiian, and Patricia Williams was an older black lady. So you have a diverse mix of cultured people coming together, well educated. Most of them graduated Harvard Law School, were law professors. All of these people came together in a room and they said, we are going to study the subject of how race affects law. So what happens when race is looked at compared to law? Okay, that's how critical race theory got started in a whole. Then once these people got in a room and started talking about how race affects law, like in the courtroom, then they realized that because of the way the system was built, race is an imminent factor of any and all law or things that go on in law. So because of them coming to that conclusion, they were able to then say what other things were built back during those racist, horrible slave times that has not been uprooted or redone or relooked at or reimagined or resuggested in years, that is also race is being affected by race, or you're affected by it because of your race. So when you look at the entirety of America and our systems and how we came up, education, whether it be what they were talking about, which is the law system or jail or all of that, the criminal system, you see how race is a factor in how it all came about and where it all started from, which is the 400 years of slavery that no one ever went back and said, okay, they like stopped slavery, but they never went back and said, okay, we need to fix all these other racist things that were put into place when slavery was there. And they never did that. They never went back and cleaned up the party. They just kind of stopped the party and let all the trash remnants just sit around the room. And now we're left to deal with those trash remnants, and it affects us because we're the cultured people. It's race. It affects us. So I want people to understand that. Now, when it comes to the argument of critical race theory being taught in schools, what everybody's talking about, you see all the talking heads on like every channel and Trump and whoever else saying their opinion about critical race theory and how it's horrible and it's racist and it's divisive and it's teaching hate and all of that. Okay, hear me out here. Maybe we shouldn't start with the debate of should we put critical race theory in elementary schools? Maybe that's not really the way to go with this, because clearly and obviously there are tons of adults and even educated ones that don't understand critical race theory if they're calling it divisive and, oh, you're teaching hate and XYZ. So let's infiltrate critical race theory into adult college classrooms more than they already are, because I know it is taught. It's actually one of them is a professor of it at one school, but let's expand that a little bit. Let's get to a level understanding of what we're talking about when we're talking about critical race theory, because when I hear people say, oh, it's going to teach kids hate, it's going to teach them this and that, teaching kids that our system has been built upon principles that have never been changed since the slave days is teaching them the truth. That's not teaching them hate. And we need to tell people in general and teach people in general these things, not just school children in elementary school. People all over need to understand and study and realize what critical race theory really says, to understand that these are the issues at hand that we're talking about when we're talking about the policing system, when we're talking about defunding or doing this and that, reimagining the police, or any other system, whether it be education, whether it be redlining, whether it be the colonization that the sister was talking about at the beginning in the video. All of these things are affecting today's Black people. and they were put in place a long time ago, and they've never been erased. They've never been redone. They've never looked back and said, oh, oops, well, because we were so racist, not only did we enslave you, but we also put all these other systems into place to keep you where you are, keep you back, keep you down, keep you behind me. And they never looked at those systems and tried to revamp those systems. They just said, okay, here's your handcuffs are free. Bye-bye, have fun. So that is what critical race theory, in plain Jane bottom line, that I can explain it. It's telling you that we have got to go back. Once again, as dreadful as that sounds, we have got to go back and say what systems were put into place during slavery, okay, and otherwise, whether that be during the marches during Martin Luther King, whether that be during, whatever, all those times, we need to look at all those times, all those years, and say what systems have been put into place to purposefully dismantle, keep down Black and brown and marginalized people and do this, and we need to readjust and relook at them. XYZ. So that is my little spiel. I would like to also say, if you don't know what critical race theory is, look it up. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, look it up. I was able to find the first 2 chapters of the book, Critical Race Theory, an Introduction. That's free on the internet. You can read it. And if you read the table of contents, the table of contents will tell you what is in the book. It will tell you what they're talking about. And a lot of the things that I've been hearing, unfortunately, on political news has not been what I have researched and found about critical race theory. What I found about critical race theory is there are a lot of people that need to read it, understand it before they cast judgment on it, and before they try to say, we should do this or do that. Whether or not it should be taught in schools, of course it should be taught in schools. Of course. Should Christopher Columbus be taught in schools right now? No, not the way they're doing it, but they're doing it anyway. So, I mean, the school question is neither here nor there, because a larger group of people need to learn, understand, and comprehend critical race theory before we even worry about whether or not our children can comprehend it. Our adults can't comprehend it. So that's what I will say on that. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your opinion. I want to know what you think. Do you hate critical race theory? Do you think it's racist? Do you think it's this is that? I mean, I really just want to hear your opinion. I mean, I really just want to know what you think, because we can have a definite, like, educated discussion on this matter, like in even more in further detail, maybe even later on. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next story. It is time to get into the entertainment news for the culture update today. So I'm super excited about this. Our first story today is about Ikea. Now, as most of you know, if you were on with me live last week, it was Juneteenth on Saturday last week, and we were celebrating, it was the first Juneteenth that we have been federally, legalized as a holiday federally, and recognized, I should say. And Ikea took things a little too far. Now, this was an Atlanta-based Ikea. And I don't know how this happened, but I guess because they just decided to make it a federal holiday, for some reason, these IKEA workers were not off work. From what I understood, you were supposed to be off work for federal holidays. Maybe it wasn't written in stone yet, so I don't know. But either way, these people went to work. And IKEA thought, in order to celebrate Juneteenth, that they would go ahead and put out a full menu of what was going to be served that day to the employees, kind of like a, employee party. You go to the lounge, you get a little, you get the food, the hot meal every once in a while, right? So according to another employee working at IKEA, IKEA did not ask a single Black person, okay, or have a Black person in the room as they came up with a menu for Juneteenth, which consisted of fried chicken, watermelon, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and I think there was maybe one more thing. Now, that sounds like a bomb menu to me. I'm not even gonna lie. However, it is kind of messed up if they really did not have a single Black person. Now, it's hard to believe there wasn't a single Black person in that room, considering this is an Atlanta-based IKEA. I'm just saying there are definitely Black people in Atlanta. Now, I don't know where in Atlanta this was, so I'm not going to go that far, but I'm just saying. Now, I read in the story that 33 employees did not show up to work because they were so outraged by this menu choice. They were so outraged, 33 Black employees did not show up to work. They were so outraged by the menu that Ikea withdrew the menu. They withdrew serving on Juneteenth Day. They decided to serve the next day on Sunday instead, and they revised the menu. And instead of using fried chicken, they used meatloaf, mashed potatoes and gravy instead of macaroni and cheese. They took out the watermelon, and I believe they switched out collard greens for some other form, like baked beans or something like that. So I really want to hear about what you think about this situation. We got comments coming in. We got a comment. Let's see. The COC for Life says all of Atlanta is black. See, that's what I'm saying. So IKEA, come on now. What are you doing? You cannot sit here and have an all-white meeting of employees and ask them what you're going to serve for Juneteenth. Now, my second question when I heard the story is who was cooking the food? Because if you got the nerve to put out a black menu and you don't got black women or black people in there cooking the food, oh, Lord have mercy. That ain't even right. Because the Lord knows we don't want no Paula Deen fried chicken on Juneteenth. So don't even. Oh, appreciate you, Cannabis Syndicate, hitting out saying great topics today. Appreciate you. All right, let's move on to the next story. By the way, hit me up about that IKEA story. Let me know what you think. IKEA claims there were black people in the room, but their employees say there were no black people in the room. So let me know what you think. Mike Jones, IKEA is funny. Yeah, IKEA is wrong for that. All right, let's move on to the next story. We're talking about Black Twitter, Meagan Thee Stallion, and cultural appropriation. All right, so let me just go ahead and give you the rundown. As you know, I spend my weeks on Black Twitter. I feel like that's a great way to get some Black news, figure out what's really happening in the culture, and pretty much it's the most entertaining, I'm not gonna lie. So when I was on Black Twitter this weekend, I saw a post about Meagan Thee Stallion's new song called Thot, S-H-I. So I was like, okay, Meagan Thee Stallion, another, Thot song. Okay, here we go with this. What's going to happen with it? Well, turns out a lot of the Black creators decided they were going to boycott TikTok. Now, if you don't know, Black creators on TikTok are basically what make TikTok. Black creators on TikTok come up with the dances that you see, everyone recreate. They come up with, sometimes content on their own, including music. They come up with all kinds of things. They are literally influencers. So TikTok, they're the creators. They are what make TikTok go. They're what make people go viral. So story has it, this girl, Addison Rae, the white girl, right? She goes on Jimmy Fallon and she performs like 9 TikTok dances. All of them are from Black creators, right? She goes on there, of course, mum's the word. She don't say nothing about where these dances came from. She's basically, from what I can tell, taking credit for it for herself. So that's a big no-no. Let me tell you why. I got on the internet the other day. Did you know this little Addison Rae girl then got a contract with iHeartRadio Music Festival and is performing live in Las Vegas? Some TikTok dances. Black created TikTok dances. Oh my God. I said, Lord have me. So not only did you go on Jimmy Fallon, but now you're going on iHeartRadio Music Festival performing Black created TikTok dances that are not originally yours. And you're quote unquote 15 minutes of famous because of it now. Man, get out of here. This, folks, is cultural appropriation at its finest. Why not just give credit where credit is due? You would still get your little 20 seconds of fame, but give credit where credit is due. Just say, oh no, Jimmy, I learned this from Shaquita and them online. However, this is how I do it. And get up there and do it. Like, oh, it's so annoying. It's blasphemous. Like, give credit where credit is due. And now, because this little girl decided to culture appropriate and use it for her gain, her likeness, money, XYZ, everything else that comes with it. Now, Meagan Thee Stallion is suffering from it. Why is Meagan Thee Stallion suffering from it? Because now TikTok Black creators are no longer creating TikToks, and her new song that just came out is now basically flopped. It's completely flopped. because no Black creators are going to make songs from it. As a matter of fact, one Black creator, I believe he goes by the name of Eric Lewis, came out and started the song in the video, acted like he was about to perform some moves, and then said, "Psych, TikTok ain't gonna be jack without Black creators," and walked off. So that started an even bigger trend of Black creators saying, "Up and gone, I'm out of here." So, long story short, this is bad for everybody because now, let me mind you, you might have thought, oh, well, TikTok, that ain't going to be jack to Megan Thee Stallion. She's hot. She's this, she's that. Skirt. Black creators on TikTok have caused Megan Thee Stallion blast 3 songs to stay at #1 for longer than they would have had those people not made TikTok dances out of it. So TikTok is a big income generator for Megan Thee Stallion. She definitely benefits from TikTok dances and those songs going viral because of that. So yes, it affects us as a Black community, our dollar signs, our money, and that's why we really just gotta. I mean, I don't really trust TikTok anyway, Black creators. I don't blame you for, putting a pause on it, boycotting it. I don't know that I would even put any of my dances on the internet. If I were you, I would find a way to, trademark them, copyright them, something. I mean, something. Really, seriously, it's that bad out in the streets. So that's that. Let me know what you think about this cultural appropriation issue. Why do white people not give credit when credit's due? Why do they just take things from our culture and use and abuse them? And by the way, a lot of people have been complaining to me now that there are a lot less Black TikTok creators on TikTok. They have been flooded with white people making Black videos, even more so than before. So I got sent a few things. It was crazy. I want to know what you think about this. Hit me up. Let me know in the comment section, wherever you're out on YouTube, wherever you are. Let me know what you think about this cultural appropriation issue. I think it's out of control. I think it's way past just TikTok and Megan Thee Stallion. I think that's just a cherry on top of a trash pile, if you will. All right, let's move on to the last story of the day. Oh my gosh, man, I don't need this is a sensitive subject because I'm a female and I don't want the males to jump on me, and I also don't want the females to jump on me. But we're talking about Brazilian butt lifts. Okay, BBL is what they call it for short. This is Brazilian butt lift. And if you see some of these images right here that are popping up, this is what is happening. Okay, our culture, our Black women, our Black people, they're getting made fun of on a large scale due to Brazilian butt lifts. Okay, people are saying that, well, first of all, let's just talk about how bad they are for you. They were at once considered the highest fatality procedure, elective procedure. I believe it's still up there very high as one of the most dangerous. And I want to kind of explain the reason why that is. For a Brazilian butt lift, there are a few things you need to understand. For one, Brazilian butt lifts are not from Brazil. Okay? Didn't originate from there, didn't come from there. Yeah, Brazilian women have beautiful booties, but no, it did not come from Brazil. It's not even originated from there. It has nothing to do with Brazil. So they just call it that. Okay, number two, it is not a lift. Fellas, if you're watching, do not be fooled. These women are not going and physically getting their butt lifted up and put into a new place up in the air. Okay, that's not what's happening. Okay, a BBL, a Brazilian butt lift, is a transfusion of fat from one part of your body to the other. So they might take something from, like, say, your midsection, your torso section, your thighs, or somewhere of that nature, a very fatty area of your body. They're going to remove the fat. They're going to put it in your butt. Okay, that is what a BBL, a Brazilian butt lift, actually is, the procedure. Now, here's the problem with the procedure. One, it costs anywhere between $3,000 and $30,000. Now that's a huge gap. So if you're paying $3,000, not looking too good. If you're paying $30,000, holy, you're going to pay that every 10, 5, 7 years that you need to have a new Brazilian butt lift? I don't think so. So there's problem number one. There's a huge gap in the amount that it costs. So that tells me right there are some sketch procedures going on. Number two issue is going to be the fact that doctors that are performing this are calling it extremely dangerous because of the way the procedure is done. When they take the fat out of your stomach and they put it into your butt, they're putting it into the muscle. Okay. And the problem with putting it into the muscle is it can leak out and go into your vital organs like your lungs and your bloodstream. And when that happens, you go into basically pulmonary embolism and you die. So that's what causes the high fatalities. Now, I'm not a doctor. I just read these things, and sometimes I probably pronounce words wrong. So forgive me, but I'm just telling you what I read up on, what I found out. Now, there is a new procedure that doctors have been talking about that is the Brazilian butt lift procedure without inserting the fat directly into the muscle, that is supposed to be quote unquote a lot safer, that is inserting the fat above the muscle instead of into the muscle. Now, whether or not you want to say that's going to be so much safer, I don't know. It still sounds like it could easily get into your bloodstream. And now here's the other problem with the procedure. Out of all the fat that they remove from you, you can only keep 40% of that in your butt. So say out of 100% that they remove out of you, only 40% of that is going to actually like maybe stay. And then it also varies whether or not you lose weight, gain weight, you can, so that's another huge issue. So how does this affect Black culture and why? Well, I think you kind of already know. We like big butts and we cannot lie. All of us do. Black people, just that's our culture. I mean, if you want to look back to all the days, if you look back in history, we have had bigger bodies, bigger breasts, bigger thighs. We have been big boned, so to speak. And that could be because of a lot of reasons. I'm sure slavery has a lot to do with it, a lot of other factors as well. Therefore, it has become widely popular nowadays to uphold that and keep that as a sex symbol and status. If you don't have a big butt, you're pretty much not what's up. And that's the message that gets portrayed. And so unfortunately, we have a lot of women going to lengths to do whatever they can to make sure that they have that extra added weight in the back. And unfortunately, it not only is it extremely dangerous, but because we are Black folks, we already have a higher rate of issues being in the hospital, dying, everything, you name it. Black people are at the top of the list. So that's a factor. So it's already more dangerous just because we're Black. And then also we're targeted because we're Black. So these Brazilian butt lift companies, they're going to be targeting Black women. They're going to be targeting, Black ads, targeting women, targeting Black culture, targeting hip hop culture. And also, I want to look at this on kind of like a moral scale. Men, I want to talk to you for a second. How do you feel about your women having these quote unquote A shots, butt shots? Because do you realize she gonna have to get that like redone about every 5, 7, 10 years? That's expensive. Do you realize that it doesn't really always have the results that you're looking for? I mean, I just can't imagine going through my entire life for the rest of my life knowing that I had to have surgery every 5 to 7 years just to keep my butt looking good. To each his own, to each her own. But at the end of the day, ladies, just think about it. There are a lot of other ways you can get your butt looking good. You can go to the gym, you can eat right, you can get a nutritionist, you can, get a trainer. There are a lot of, butt specific workouts you can do. And it's natural for Black women to gain booty. So if you're eating right, you're working out, you're taking care of your body, you're doing what you can, the booty gonna come. It's gonna come. So, that's what I got to say about the Brazilian butt lift. I want to know your opinion about this. Is this something that as a Black culture we need to back away from? Is this something as a Black culture we're like, yeah, go for it. All the ladies get the ass shots or whatever. So let me know what you think. Hit me up, give me your opinion on this. I just think it's very dangerous. There's no doubt about the fact that it's very dangerous, and it does disproportionately affect Black women. And I think it needs to be looked at. I think that a more natural approach to Black beauty should be upheld. I think that our men and women should look at ourselves more as a more natural earthly creature, beautiful from the start, beautiful from the beginning, you know. And that takes a lot of self-confidence and a lot of self-realization for people to come to. It's not really about what you see out there. It's really about what you got going on for yourself. It's more than just looks and sex appeal. And, you know, you got to get a little up here before you can kind of get past that. So that's what I have to say on that subject. And that's pretty much all we got for the show today. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Special shout out to the culture creators. Make sure you guys catch all their shows. They have live shows all the time. Make sure you jump on all their platforms and check them out. And also, special thanks to all my viewers for checking out this show today. And we appreciate you. Check us out. We're going to be live every Sunday from now on. Every Sunday from now on. 7 p.m. I promise we're not going to switch it again. We did that last week because it was Juneteenth, but this week and every week, Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. And we're going to give you the culture update. So that has been it. Y'all have a blessed one, and we will see you next time. Peace out.